The scientific vessel, Stellar Observer, hovered silently above Earth's atmosphere. Chief Researcher Day led the alien expedition team as they established their cloaked observation post near a small human settlement surrounded by forests. These humans are remarkably fragile, noted Assistant Researcher June, studying the biological scans. Their skin offers minimal protection, and they lack natural weapons. Yet they've become the dominant species, Day replied, adjusting the observation. Equipment. Focus our study on that small dwelling near the forest edge. Their sensors detected a young human female, approximately 12 Earth cycles old. The team's databanks identified her as Minji, a common designation for female offspring. She ventures into the wilderness alone repeatedly, observed junior researcher Sue with concern. How have these creatures survived with such reckless behavior? The alien scientists had been monitoring Earth for 3 cycles now. Their mission was clear: observe and document, but never interact. The Galactic Science Council was particularly interested in this blue planet that had somehow developed intelligent life, despite hosting over 50,000 species of dangerous predators. Day's 6-fingered hand moved across the control panel, zooming in on Minji's home. It was a simple wooden structure with a garden in the back and solar panels on the roof. Nothing like the crystal hives where Dai's species lived. Their technology is primitive, June said, his large eyes blinking in sequence. Yet they've managed to harness solar energy. Fascinating contradiction. Sue adjusted her breathing apparatus. The ship's atmosphere was calibrated to Earth's, making it slightly uncomfortable for her species. Shall we deploy the microdrones for closer observation? Day nodded, his head crest rising slightly in approval. Release a cluster near the human dwelling. I want to understand their daily patterns. The ship hummed softly as tiny drones larger-than-Earth insects were released into the atmosphere. They descended slowly, their cloaking technology making them invisible to human detection methods. Through the drone feeds, the aliens observed the human family's morning routine. Minji's parents prepared food in their kitchen before departing. In a fossil fuel-powered vehicle, Minji remained behind, gathering items in a small backpack. She appears to be preparing for another excursion, Sue noted, tracking the girl's movements. Record all biological data, Day ordered. Heart rate, body temperature, stress hormone levels. Perhaps there's something we're missing about their survival capabilities. The drones followed at a safe distance as Minji left her dwelling and headed toward the dense forest that bordered the human settlement. She moved with confidence, following a path worn into the ground from frequent use. Accessing Earth information networks, June announced. According to human knowledge databases, these forests contain several species classified as dangerous to humans. Venomous snakes, large mammals, disease-carrying insects. Yet she shows no fear response, Sue said, studying the biological readings. Her heart rate is steady, stress hormones at baseline levels. Day's attention focused on a small device Minji carried in her hand. What is that object? Weapon, communication device? June analyzed the images. It appears to be what humans call a smartphone, a primitive but versatile tool that serves multiple functions. As they watched, Minji stopped at various plants, using her device to capture images. She occasionally consulted information on the screen before collecting samples and placing them carefully in containers. She's cataloging the local flora, Day realized. A scientific pursuit at such a young age. Perhaps their knowledge transfer systems are more efficient than we estimated, Sue suggested. Their observations were interrupted by an alert from the ship's sensors. A heat signature larger than Minji's was detected moving through the underbrush nearby. Life form approaching the human, June reported, matching against Earth databases, identified as Canis familiaris, domesticated wolf derivative. Humans, call them dogs. The aliens watched as a large canine bounded into view. Instead of fleeing, Minji's face displayed what their emotion recognition software identified as happiness. The predator is attacking, Sue exclaimed as the animal jumped toward the girl, but instead of violence they witnessed an unexpected interaction. The dog pressed against Minji, and she wrapped her arms around it in what Earth data classified as an embrace. The animal licked her face while she laughed. They've formed a symbiotic relationship with a predator species, Dai whispered, his voice filled with wonder. This requires a complete reassessment of our understanding of human survival strategies. The Galactic Council will find this most unexpected, June agreed. No other known intelligent species has successfully domesticated apex predators. As the sun began to set over the forest, the alien researchers continued their observations, realizing that these seemingly fragile humans held mysteries they had only begun to uncover. Alert! Apex predator detected in Minji's projected path, June announced 3 days into their observation. The monitoring screens displayed a large feline predator that Earth databases identified as a mountain lion, a creature whose strength and speed far exceeded human capabilities. Their protective protocols are incomprehensible, muttered Day. No guardian accompanies her, no defensive technology protects her. The team watched Minji follow a small stream deeper into the forest. Unaware of the danger, the predator, sensing her presence, began a calculated stalking pattern. Should we intervene? Sue asked, reaching for the emergency extraction controls. Confederation law permits exception for imminent loss of life. Wait, ordered Day. Let's see how humans handle their predators. Perhaps there's something we've missed. The alien scientists gathered around the main viewing screen. The mountain lion moved silently through the trees, its powerful muscles rippling under golden fur. Their scanners showed it was a female, approximately 4 Earth years old and weighing nearly 60 kilograms. Its physical capabilities are remarkable, June said, analyzing the data. Bite force of over 300 pounds per square inch, sprint speed of 50 Earth kilometers per hour, jumping distance of 6 meters. Sue tapped nervously on the console. The human child has none of these advantages. Scan shows her weight at 38 kilograms, muscle density 1/3 of the predator's. Yet humans have spread across this entire planet, Day reminded them. They must have survival strategies we don't understand. The aliens had been following Minji's forest excursions with growing fascination. Each day, she ventured farther from the human settlement, collecting plant samples and taking pictures of small animals. Today she carried a different bag, slightly larger than usual. What are those objects she's carrying? Sue asked, zooming in on the thermal image. June consulted the Earth database. Food items, preserved animal protein, sweet carbohydrate bars, water. Perhaps offerings for smaller forest creatures, Day suggested. We've observed her feeding birds and squirrels. The mountain lion crouched lower, ears flattened against its skull. It had positioned itself perfectly along Minji's path, hidden behind a fallen tree trunk. The girl was less than 50 meters away, completely unaware of the danger. This is madness, Sue whispered. Their species allows their young to walk into deadly situations without protection. Confederation records show no intelligent species that permits such risk to offspring, June agreed. It defies evolutionary logic. Day's face tentacles twisted in thought. Perhaps they have senses we don't understand. Scan for unusual brainwave patterns. Nothing abnormal detected, June reported after running the scan. Wait, the predator is moving. The mountain lion had begun its final approach, belly low to the ground, eyes fixed on Minji. The girl had stopped by the stream, kneeling to examine something in the water. Extraction protocol ready, Sue announced, her fingers hovering over the emergency controls. Beam calibrated. We can remove her in 2.3 seconds. Not yet, Day insisted, though his voice wavered slightly. The Council specifically ordered non-interference, unless absolutely necessary. This qualifies as necessary, Sue argued. That creature will kill her in seconds. The mountain lion tensed, preparing to pounce. Minji remained oblivious, her back to the predator, as she reached into the water. 3 seconds to attack, June counted down, his voice tight. 2 seconds. 1. Suddenly, a high-pitched sound cut through the forest. The aliens watched in surprise as Minji pulled a small device from her pocket. The mountain lion froze, its ears perking up at the noise. What is that? Day demanded. Earth technology called a whistle, June explained, quickly. Creates high-frequency sound. To their astonishment, the mountain lion backed away slightly, no longer in attack position. Minji stood up slowly and turned around. Her face registered surprise, but not terror. She sees it, Sue whispered. Why isn't she running? Instead of fleeing, Minji remained still. She reached slowly into her bag. The predator could cover that distance in less than a second, June noted, his voice tense. Extraction ready on your command, Sue reminded Day. Day's eyes never left the screen. Something isn't right. The predator's behavior is unusual. The mountain lion remained in place, watching Minji intently. The girl slowly removed a package from her bag, unwrapped it, and placed it on a rock. Then she backed away, moving downstream. She's feeding it, June asked incredulously. Impossible, Sue said. No species willingly provides resources to its predators, yet they watched as the mountain lion cautiously approached the food after Minji had retreated to a safer distance. It sniffed the offering, then began to eat. I've never seen anything like this, Day admitted, his scientific curiosity fully engaged. We need to understand this relationship. It contradicts everything we know about predator-prey dynamics. Should we deploy a tracking drone on the feline? June suggested. Day nodded. Yes, and increase monitoring of the human child. There's something here we're missing. Something that might explain how these physically vulnerable creatures became Earth's dominant species. As the mountain lion finished its meal and disappeared back into the forest, the aliens watched Minji continue her journey as if nothing unusual had happened. Something extraordinary was happening on this strange blue planet, and they were determined to understand it. The alien observers fell silent as their monitors showed the inevitable confrontation. Minji, gathering plants along the stream, stopped suddenly as the mountain lion emerged from the underbrush ahead. She's seen it, whispered Sue. Why isn't she fleeing? Instead of running, Minji slowly reached into her small carrying pack. The predator crouched, muscles tensing. This defies all survival logic, June said, his voice rising. No species in the Confederation would approach an apex predator voluntarily. Prepare for emergency extraction, ordered Day, though he couldn't tear his eyes from the monitor. To their astonishment, Minji began speaking softly to the predator while carefully retrieving something from her pack. The tension aboard the Stellar. Observer was thick enough to cut with a laser. All three alien researchers had abandoned their other duties to crowd around the main screen. The tracking drone provided a perfect view of the scene unfolding below. Vital signs check, Day demanded, his voice tight. Human heart rate elevated but not at panic levels, June reported, confusion evident in his tone. Stress hormones increasing but still within normal parameters. That's impossible, Sue said. She should be experiencing maximum fear response. The mountain lion stood perfectly still, its amber eyes fixed on Minji. The great cat's tail swished slowly back and forth. Its powerful shoulders showed every muscle ready to pounce. The tracking drone's sensors measured its mass at 64 kilograms, more than enough to take down the small human with ease. Audio enhancement, Day ordered, and the ship's systems immediately amplified the sounds from below. Minji's voice came through clearly. Hello again, Big Kitty. I know you're hungry. I brought you something good today. She's communicating with it, June whispered in disbelief, as if it understands her language. Predators on our world respond only to shows of force or submission, Sue said. This interaction follows neither pattern. On the screen, Minji continued to move with deliberate slowness. From her pack, she pulled out a package wrapped in paper. The mountain lion's nostrils flared, catching the scent. Analyzing contents, June said, scanning the package. Appears to be animal protein, what humans call beef, high caloric content. She's feeding a predator that could kill her, Day said, his voice filled with wonder. This contradicts everything we know about intelligent species behavior. The girl placed the food on a flat rock between herself and the mountain lion. Then, to the alien's further astonishment, she sat down cross-legged on the ground. She made herself smaller, less threatening, but she didn't retreat. Emergency extraction ready, Sue reminded Dee nervously. One command and we can have her safely aboard. No, Day said firmly. This is too important to interrupt. This may be why humans have succeeded where other physically vulnerable species failed. The mountain lion inched forward cautiously, never taking its eyes off Minji. The girl remained perfectly still, watching the predator with what the alien's emotion scanners identified as a mixture of respect and fascination. Notice how she doesn't display fear, June pointed out, but she doesn't display dominance either. A third interaction pattern, Day mused, one our species never developed. The mountain lion reached the rock and sniffed the offering carefully. With one eye still on Minji, it began to eat. "I've given you food 3 times now," Minji said softly to the animal. "I won't hurt you. I just want to help your leg get better." "Leg? Injury?" Sue questioned, redirecting the scanner. "Yes, I see it now. Right hind leg shows signs of previous trauma, partially healed." "She's not just feeding it," Day realized. "She's trying to heal it." As they watched, Minji slowly reached into her pack again. This time she removed a small container. The mountain lion tensed immediately, but didn't run or attack. "What is she doing?" June asked, zooming in further. Minji opened the container and placed it next to the food. "This will help your leg, kitty. The people at the wildlife center made it for you. It tastes good, I promise." The aliens watched in amazement as the mountain lion, after finishing the meat, cautiously licked the contents of the small container. "Medical analysis indicates antibiotic and anti-inflammatory compounds," June reported, disguised in a palatable delivery medium. "She's administering medicine to an apex predator," Day said, his voice filled with awe. "Without restraints, without force." Sue's 6-fingered hand moved away from the emergency extraction controls. "This challenges everything the Confederation believes about predator-prey dynamics, and perhaps about intelligence itself," Day added thoughtfully. "Their physical weakness didn't lead to extinction. It led to something different." As they continued to watch, Minji began to sing softly, a gentle melody that seemed to soothe the great cat. The mountain lion finished the medicine, gave the girl one long look, then turned and disappeared back into the forest. Minji gathered her things and stood up, a smile spreading across her face. "Record everything," Day ordered. "The Council must see this. It changes our understanding of how intelligence evolves. These humans aren't surviving despite their weakness. They're thriving because of it." "Impossible!" exclaimed June as Minji placed food on the ground and backed away slowly. The mountain lion cautiously approached, took the offering, and retreated without aggression. "Access Earth information networks," Day commanded. "Find any data on human-predator interactions." Their search revealed that the mountain lion wore a small tracking device. Further investigation uncovered records from local wildlife researchers who had treated the animal for an injury months earlier. "She's continuing what they started," Sue realized as they observed Minji repeat this ritual over subsequent days. These humans deliberately rehabilitate creatures that could kill them. "This suggests an intelligence pattern we've never encountered," Day noted, documenting the interactions. "They've developed empathy that extends beyond their species." The alien research team had been in constant motion since witnessing Minji's extraordinary encounter with the mountain lion. Sleep cycles were abandoned as they pursued this new line of inquiry. "Display all data on the tracking device," Day ordered, his facial tentacles pulsing with excitement. The ship's main screen filled with information. The small device attached to the mountain lion's ear was broadcasting a steady signal. By tapping into Earth's primitive digital networks, the aliens could access the data it transmitted. "The predator is designated as F-237 in their records," June reported, scrolling through the information. "Female mountain lion, approximately 5 years old, found with a severe leg injury 3 months ago." Sue examined the medical files. They performed surgery to remove a metal object from her leg, something called a bullet, a primitive weapon humans use. "So humans injured the creature, then healed it?" Day asked, confused. "Different humans," June clarified. "Their species shows remarkable variety in behavior. Some harm, others heal." The screen showed images of the mountain lion sedated on an operating table. Human adults in white coverings worked on its injured leg. Their faces displayed intense concentration. "Look at their expressions," Day noted. "They care about this predator's well-being. This makes no evolutionary sense." Sue accessed more files. "The records indicate this healing center what they call a wildlife rehabilitation facility, treats hundreds of dangerous animals each year. They heal them, then return them to their natural habitats. But why? June wondered. What benefit do they gain? Day tapped his control panel, bringing up more Earth information. There's something here about conservation and ecological balance. They believe maintaining predator populations is important for their planet's health. So it's practical, Sue suggested. They protect predators to protect themselves. Not entirely, Day said, reading further. Listen to this statement from the facility. We believe every creature has intrinsic value and deserves respect and care. Intrinsic value? June repeated. They assign worth to beings that offer them no direct benefit? This contradicts all known models of intelligent species development, Sue said. The Confederation teaches that intelligence evolves to maximize advantage. These humans are deliberately placing themselves at risk. Dai's eyes narrowed in thought. Switch to the live feed. Let's see what Minji is doing today. The screen showed the girl following a now familiar path through the forest. She carried her usual pack, but today she also brought a small device that transmitted signals. She's carrying a radio receiver, June identified. It's picking up the mountain lion's tracking signal. She's deliberately seeking out the predator, Sue said, her voice rising in alarm. They watched as Minji followed the signal to a small clearing. She set down her pack and waited quietly. After 20 minutes, the mountain lion appeared at the edge of the trees. It moved with noticeably more grace than before, its injured leg showing significant improvement. Minji smiled. Your leg looks so much better, Kitty, she said softly. The medicine is working. She opened her pack and placed not just food, but also another container of medicine on the ground. Then she took out something else, a small device that emitted flashing lights. What is that? Sue asked. June analyzed the object. A camera. She's trying to photograph the predator. As if understanding, the mountain lion paused in a shaft of sunlight. Minji quickly took several pictures before the great cat approached to take the food. This is extraordinary, Day whispered. The predator is cooperating. Accessing more human information networks, June announced. I've found similar patterns worldwide. Humans in Africa approach lions. Humans in oceans swim with sharks. They call it wildlife conservation and study. Sue's face showed astonishment. They're not just surviving alongside predators. They're studying them, helping them, living with them. Day sat back, his mind racing. I think we've been approaching this all wrong. We assumed intelligence develops to overcome physical limitations. But these humans, they've developed intelligence that transcends the predator-prey relationship entirely. Could this explain how they became the dominant species? June wondered. Perhaps, Day agreed. While other species fought endless battles of physical dominance, humans developed something different, the ability to care for beings unlike themselves. They watched as Minji packed up her things after the mountain lion disappeared back into the forest. She pulled out a small communication device and spoke into it. Dr. Kim, it's Minji. F-237 came again today. Her leg is much better. I got photos, and she took the medicine. I think she'll be fully recovered soon. The aliens listened as an adult human voice responded with praise and guidance. She's part of their scientific community, Sue realized. Not just a child wandering in the forest. We've discovered something the Confederation has never encountered, Day said solemnly. A completely different path of evolution. Intelligence driven not by dominance but by connection. The alien team compiled their findings into a comprehensive report for the Confederation Council. Humans represent an evolutionary path previously unobserved, Day narrated as he finalized the document. Their physical weakness fostered remarkable mental adaptations, allowing them to form connections with dangerous species through empathetic communication. The final recording showed Minji leading adult humans to the mountain lion's location, where they observed the animal's recovery from a distance. The Confederation has misclassified Earth, concluded Day. What appeared as primitive vulnerability is actually sophisticated interspecies intelligence. As the stellar observer prepared to depart, the team watched Minji one last time. Perhaps we are the less advanced species, Sue suggested quietly. We conquered our predators. They've learned to coexist with theirs. Begin preparation for formal contact protocols, Day instructed. Earth has much to teach the stars. The research vessel hummed with activity as the alien team prepared their final report. 7 Earth rotations had passed since they first observed Minji's extraordinary interaction with the mountain lion. In that time, they had collected enough data to fill the ship's memory banks. Display final video sequence, Day requested, his voice solemn. The main screen showed footage from early that morning. Minji walked through the forest, but this time she wasn't alone. 2 adult humans accompanied her. A tall male and a shorter female wearing clothing marked with wildlife conservation symbols. The adults are scientists, June explained. The female is Dr. Kim, the veterinarian who treated the mountain lion initially. The male is Professor Park, a wildlife biologist. They watched as Minji led the adults to a small blind constructed of branches and leaves. The humans settled inside with observation equipment and waited quietly. They've built a hiding place, Sue noted, to observe without being seen. A sign of respect, Day agreed. They understand they are visitors in the predator's territory. After 2 hours, the mountain lion appeared. Through the drone's sensors, the aliens could see that its injured leg had healed remarkably well. It moved with the fluid grace natural to its species. The adult female, Dr. Kim, whispered something to Minji, and the girl nodded proudly. The professor took photographs and made notes on a small device. They're documenting its recovery, June said. This isn't just kindness, it's science. A science built on connection rather than control, Day added. That's the key we've been missing. Later that day, back in the human settlement, the aliens directed their drones to observe a meeting at what appeared to be a community gathering place. Minji stood before a group of humans of various ages, displaying images of the mountain lion on a screen. Professor Park stood beside her, nodding encouragingly as she spoke. Activate audio, Day ordered. The mountain lion is almost fully healed, Minji was saying to the group. Dr. Kim says she'll be able to hunt normally now, and the best part is she's going to have babies in the spring. A murmur of excitement ran through the human audience. This is why we must protect the forest corridors, Professor Park added. These predators need space to live away from humans, yet close enough that we can help when needed. Balance is everything. Sue tilted her head in confusion. They want the predators near, but not too near. This seems contradictory. It's sophisticated, Day corrected. They understand the need for boundaries while maintaining connection. Back on the ship, the alien team gathered for their final meeting. Holographic displays showed their collected data, genetic samples, behavioral recordings, cultural analyses. Our mission was to determine if humans represented a threat to the Confederation, Day reminded his colleagues. Our findings suggest something very different. They're dangerous in ways we never anticipated, June said, but not in the way the Council feared. Dangerous? Sue questioned. Their empathy is dangerous, Day explained. It challenges our most fundamental assumptions about intelligence. The Confederation has always believed that advanced societies develop by overcoming and controlling their environments. Humans suggest another path. Sue looked thoughtful. On our homeworld, we exterminated all large predators 10,000 years ago. We thought this was progress, as did every known civilization in the Confederation, June added. Day gestured to the screens showing Earth's complex ecosystems. Yet these physically vulnerable humans thrive in a world still full of predators. They've turned what we saw as a weakness into their greatest strength. The aliens worked through the night, finalizing their report. As dawn broke over the forest, Day made his final recording. We recommend immediate reclassification of Earth from potential threat to cultural resource of highest value. Their unique evolutionary path has created an intelligence that balances technology with empathy, dominance with coexistence. The Confederation has much to learn from them. As the stellar observer prepared to break orbit, the team gathered for one last look at the small blue planet. Will the Council approve contact? Sue wondered. They must, Day said firmly. Our civilization has reached the limits of what can be achieved through dominance alone. These humans, these seemingly fragile beings who befriend their predators, may hold the key to our next evolutionary step. The ship's engines hummed to life, and Earth grew smaller in their viewing port, but the knowledge they carried with them would forever change the stars.